Hey there, everybody. HSPNSports. This is your host, Alex Hale, aka the Hailstorm. And I'm not going to do the hey ho, what do you know thing. I'm doing a little bit more of a serious uh, entry here. I know it's really late at night, but I wanted to get this in. Today is opening day for the Cleveland Indians, and I'm trying to go to the game. Crossing my fingers that I can get tickets. I found some, so crossing my fingers I can have my parents buy them for me. But I want to go there to see the Bob Feller tribute, and I know a lot of people have their own special story about Bob Feller and how they met met the man, and I thought I should tell my stories. I met him 3 times. The first time and third time I was with my grandmother. First time I met him, I was at a little baseball card store. I know they don't have those around here much more much more anymore. I remember I was there and saw that I was in the presence of a Major League Hall of Famer, first ever, and I was in complete awe. I couldn't believe that I was in the same room as him, and when I got up to him, he signed the baseball, and told him I was a huge fan. I was a diehard Indian fan. Loved him since I was a kid, and he said, "Do you think the Indians are going to win this year?" Which I think was back in 2001. Yeah, it was 2001. And I said, "Yeah, I like their chances this year. They got a nice team. I think they could do well." Fortunately, they didn't win the World Series. We stood on the side because he wanted to talk to us for a couple minutes, and we talked to him, and he was amazed at how much I knew about baseball. And I don't want to go into too much detail about that one, but he was amazed that I knew stuff that happened 50 years ago, and we talked for a couple minutes, and jokingly said, "I'm so glad I got your autograph now because my dad and my grandfather got your autograph a long time ago, and they didn't know what they did with the baseball." And he says, "Well, good thing you got it because now you have one now, and it's your own." And he did sign it to me, and I really appreciate that one. The second meeting, I'll tell you about that one last. Third one, again, I was with my grandmother, and the amazing thing about this one was he remembered who I was. He remembered my grandmother. He remembered where he met us. He remembered where he saw me before. And he said, "I've seen you before." And then he figured it out, and he was like, "Wow, how have you been?" I said, "I've been good, doing well the past few years." He said, "You still follow me?" And he said, "Absolutely, sir. Die hard. Always will be." And got his autograph again. We talked for a couple minutes again. And unfortunately, I couldn't have seen him at least one more time. I wish I could. Mostly because of this meeting, the second one. Not many fans are going to be able to say they did this. But I was coming back from New York. I did a recording there. And we planned to stop at the Hall of Fame. And there was a Hall of Fame World Series exhibition that week where there were some legends there. Bob Feller was there. Was supposed to be there 2 days earlier. And I was a little bit down in the dumps that I missed Bob Feller. And I was walking around the Hall of Legends, and my parents and a lot of people stood in complete awe as Bob Feller entered the room. And I was the only fan brave enough to walk up to him. He was standing at the World War II memorial at the Hall of Legends. And he said, I met you a few months ago, and he remembered me. And we walked around the Hall of Legends for about... As a diehard baseball fan, it's hard. We walked around the Hall of Legends for about 15 minutes. And that's why I wanted to see him one more time, because I wanted to tell him that those 15 minutes were the greatest 15 minutes of my life. We talked only about baseball as if we were the only two people in the Hall of Legends. He talked to me about Babe Ruth. He talked to me about all the greats. For 15 minutes, I felt like I was on top of the world. And towards the end of this 15 minutes, I mean, we just got to know each other. And the more we talked, the more and more he was amazed at how much I knew. And we were sort of quizzing each other back and forth. And he jokingly asked, "So you're a diehard Indians fan?" And he asked jokingly, "So who do you think is the greatest Indians pitcher of all time?" And I said, "Well, Bob, I wish I could say you." And this was the funny part. And I said, "But you're just like this player over here." And I walked up to Addie Joss's plaque and I said, "But he died way too young." And he agreed with me. He said, "You wanna know what? I absolutely agree with you. Addie Joss died way too young. I could only imagine what he would have done had he not have died of meningitis." And I even said he died of that, and he was amazed that I knew that much. But I said, "You're just as great, if not better." And he didn't mind that. And at least he appreciated the fact that I was knowledgeable of it. And when it was all said and done, the best part was we walked over and we stood at his plaque, and my parents walked over and they said, "Alex, this would be a perfect opportunity to get your picture with him." I said yes, and I asked him, "Can I have my picture taken with you in front of your plaque?" And I still have that picture. And he talked about his museum in Van Meter, Iowa. And he said, "You really should stop by sometime." And I wish I could have stopped by there. I really wish I did. Because I would love to have seen what he had in his collection now that I know. And I wondered, to this day, what we would have talked about there. And when he died, a part of me was hurt. Bad. And I wish to God I could have seen him one more time. Whether it was Van Meter or somewhere else. Just so I could tell him those 15 minutes meant the world to me. And I'm going to tell my kids about it and my grandkids about it. And tell them that I was friends with the greatest pitcher who ever lived. So, that's my story. And Bob, I know you're watching above. I love you, man. Thank you for everything you've done for Cleveland, for me. We miss you. I miss you.